Okay, people, listen to me very carefully. There is cause for concern. There is cause for concern. There is major cause for concern. Now, every single time that I think that the NDC is pivoting and heading in the right direction, then something is said or something is done that totally makes me worried, extremely worried for Grenada and Grenadians. And I'm going to tell you why. So I saw something circulating in the social media space of something allegedly said. Well, actually, it's a video of the Prime Minister saying something that was very, very alarming. Now, it seems to me that the Prime Minister, and you know that I generally don't like saying anything about the Prime Minister because I understand how difficult the job is. So you see, you might have heard me just said one thing about when that their lucky statement was made. But now again, I feel compelled to say something. So it seems like the Prime Minister is actively encouraging Grenadians to spy on each other and actively encouraging Grenadians to expose the political affiliation of other fellow Grenadians, all for the purpose of financially strangling them. Now this, my friends, if this does not make the hair on your skin raise, then you're asleep. If this does not create alarm in the other parties or the parties that wish to become, if it does not create alarm for you guys, then you guys are asleep at the wheel. So it seems like the Prime Minister is actually encouraging Grenadians to rat out fellow Grenadians in terms of their political affiliation. Oh, this is dangerous, dangerous territory. This has echoes of Gestapo, okay? And for you history buff, you'll understand what and who is the Gestapo, okay? This is crazy. This is some seriously Gestapo tactics that is being employed to possibly try to win an election, and there is absolutely no lengths at which this administration will not go to ensure that they secure a second term. They have gotten used to the fat cat lifestyle, and I guarantee you, they're not giving it up without fight. They definitely will do every and anything to keep the gravy train rolling. Now, this has echoes of the operations of a counterintelligence division during the PRG. And there are people who are alive who face the wrath of the counterintelligence division of the PRG. Let them tell you what they had to deal with. There are even people alive who might have been employed by the counterintelligence. And let them tell you what they had to engage in. Let them tell you, okay, how devious, how brutal, how sadistic some of these actions were. The thing about it is that none of these things start off as they end up being. It usually starts off as something very simple, something very innocuous. And then what happens is that it takes on a life of its own. So you see right now, all the NDC supporters who were in the convention, and they were cheering these statements. They were cheering what seems to me is the head of an administration encouraging them to expose other fellow Grenadians' political affiliation so they can be targeted Okay? So they can be targeted and to be dealt with and to be strangled financially and to be deprived of their bread and butter and to be weakened. My friends, you should be alarmed. No, for the other parties, if you believe that this thing wasn't serious, if this is not a wake-up call for you, if you do not believe that the battle lines have been drawn, then you're crazy. And that is why you may see me advocating for a third party, because the current system of government does not offer enough checks and balances to deal with situations like that. And that is why, if you have a third party and parliament seats are shared, then there is a sort of check and balance. So, but you see some of the people who say, oh, they're going to form parties, are pussyfooting. As if there is time not to be proactive. There is no time. The time is now. And if the opposition thought that all of this was just a joke, and obviously I've seen them, they have not been as effective as they should be in terms of holding this administration accountable. Now you have to understand, all what I'm saying right here is good for a democracy. Doesn't mean that I'm one way or the other. I'm only one way, and that one way is Grenada. A word to the wise, my friends. So when you see, we have toyed with this before. We have seen the consequences of this before. We have seen the consequences of actively pitting the Grenadian people against each other. We've seen it. Deadly consequences. So when you see an administration head actively encouraging this being done, you got a serious problem. You better wake up. And this is not by accident, because this is something I also saw one of their major podcast hitters said on his program. He also actively encouraged Grenadians to expose the political affiliation of other Grenadians. So I would not be surprised if these people are delving into some sort of database of the voters. I would not be surprised. Again, that podcast hitter has said in the past and continues to say we should be made aware of the other side and the political affiliation, and we should actively withhold benefits from them. Now, you know how serious this is. At the convention, at the meet in the park in Boucherjou, the current administration had an obligation to Grenada and the Grenadian people to say, look, this is what we have achieved for the last 2.5 years. This is where we're at, and this is where we're going. But less emphasis was placed on that, and more emphasis on jubilee and intoxication, social intoxication of the people. I'm not talking about physical alcohol intoxication. I'm talking about sweet words and intoxication and dance and jubilee. Now, I understand that works pretty well. It hypnotizes the people and distracts them from actually a real message that they should have gotten. This is where we at. This is what we have done. And this is where we plan to go. That should have been the central theme of the convention.
We need to know one another. So we can't just argue and fight for what I will get. When you don't know your people. So sometimes the reason the other side getting is because we're not saying who are the real NDC people who need to get. So if we are telling the MP or the caretaker, these are our people, and let's go see them or bring the people, then we will know each other better. But when I know your family, you're just another number. You're just another statistic. But when I know your family, you're just another number. You're just another statistic.
Now you know how serious this is. This is not a walk in the park. This is not a game. This is serious business. Ähnlich. Also, reisen Sie sich besser zusammen. Die Zukunft Grenada hängt davon ab. To all concerned, hurry up. Better get your act together. The future of Grenada depends on it.